Hi, my name is Anita Moore, and I'm a decorative painter. And today I want to share with you one of my projects that I've done for the Art Waves convention last fall, and it's done on a canvas. It's an 8x8, and what I'm going to show is how you take it apart and do a little frame and a picture. So I'm going to turn my camera down, and then we can get started. Okay, so you can get these canvas at any craft stores nearby. And what you do need is a flat screwdriver. You need some pliers to pull out the staples. And I went ahead and I did some. So I'm just going to show you the last two. What you have to do is dig into the staple with your screwdriver. You get the corner. Some of them are a little hard. And you keep lifting it up. So you just gotta get the corner of it. Working it. There you go. And then you pull, what you do is you pull the staple with the pliers. Okay, and they come out really easy. Okay, and then what you do have, and depending on what you pay for your frame or the canvas, you'll get a different little like the frame itself. You can get the big thick canvas, so it'll be a different little frame inside. And then what I do is I take this and I'm going to cut it. Let's just put that aside for a second. I have a little cutting mat here, and I'm going to use a ruler, and you need a X-Acto knife. Okay. Now you're going to cut along where the fold of your canvas was, and it'll fit right equal to the back. Okay. Now place this like that, and sometimes you can look at the corner to corner of your canvas and it'll give you an idea about where to cut. Okay, I'm gonna take my X-Acto knife, and you can press a little hard, it'll pull right through. Okay, turn this around. And then one more. Just hold on to your ruler a little tight when you go to cut it. Sometimes it might move. Okay. And that's very good. And then you have a canvas, and it'll fit right on it, and you won't even, sometimes it might be a little bit bigger. Oh, no, it's good. Okay, now we're gonna stain this so that so there's no glare. We're gonna stain the little wood frame, and if you find that it's a little rough, you can take sandpaper and sand the edges just a little bit. And sometimes it's better to sand it after you stain it. Okay, I use baby white, and we're gonna use some soft black paint, and I like using the Americana paints. And you can put some gloves on if you don't want your fingers to be all dirty. What I'm going to do, oops, I just got paint. Instructions. Now this e-packet is on my website if anybody is interested. I have some step-by-step little pictures for the flower part. Okay, I'm going to put some gloves on. Just need the one, I think. Okay, and I have baby white. And I have my soft black on my palette paper. With this. Okay, now all you have to do is just blob some paint on there, and just, it doesn't have to be thick. What you want is like a stain. So you'll see all wood grains on here. You can add a couple coats as well. A little bit more. You can make this brown. Well, it kind of, the soft black kind of makes it look brown. A little bit more. So do your edge first. Okay, and this little part here, you might have to really dig into the little edges where there's little creases. All the way around, and it'll dry really fast. Just dig your little baby white right in the little creases there. Okay, and then lay that flat. I guess I should have worn the glove on this hand. Okay, and I'm gonna just turn this around because I want to do the inside the frame right here. More paint. You can also take a little brush and try and get the inside. Okay, I'm just going to do this part. Okay, now I can do the top part. Those are a little bit big. With the little creases. If you want to make it look old, your frame, wait till it's fully dry. Take sandpaper and rough up some edges, and it'll make it look old. Okay, I must have got a big blob back there. Alrighty. So here's my stained piece of frame here. Okay, and we're going to let that dry. Okay, I'm going to throw, let that dry right over here because we'll need it later. Okay, I'm going to just clean off my mat. Baby white. And clean off my fingers. Alrighty. And clean my fingers off. Okay. For the canvas part, you have your canvas here. You're gonna, not on the outside, you're gonna paint on the top canvas part. And that is done with some forest green. Okay, and you gotta excuse me because I painted this a while ago and I don't remember my full instructions. Okay. And today I am using my Dynasty brushes. And this is going to be a #1 flat wash. That's what we'll use to base coat my canvas. Okay, so you're going to base coat it with forest green. And I'm gonna just put some on my palette. Okay, here we'll put some forest green on there. Okay, my brush is wet. Okay, and I really load my brush. Okay, so let's get this going. We're going to add some white to this too. Oh, that'd be gunk. Okay, need a little bit more. You can, like if you find it just doesn't blend as good, add a little bit more water to the brush to make it a little bit more inky. Okay, now that I have it fully covered, let's dry this and then we're going to repeat. It might take a little while to fully dry this. And then, so to do the middle, we're going to need some Snow White. Okay, I have Snow White. I'm going to put some on my palette. And you're also going to need some soft black. So I'll add a little bit more of that to my palette. Okay, what I want to do is create some highlight of white in the center and then some darker around the edges. So if you can see, there's dark around the edge, and white is mostly for the center area. Okay, so let's just apply another coat. And I like using extender medium when doing this because it allows me to have longer playtime when blending colors together, and which I forgot to take it out, but it's okay. It should be all right. Okay. Let me get my extender. So I have a little puddle here, or little wells, basins, palette, whatever you call that. I'm going to put some in there. I'm going to dip my brush in there. Okay. And I'm just going to put that along my center here and along the edge. I don't want like a puddle of it, but enough for it to stay wet while I blend. Okay. Now I'm going to leave my brush dirty. I'm going to pick up some Snow White. Okay. And I'm going to do it in the next motion. So my wrist goes into like X's. And I only want to do this like in the center area. Okay. And if I need more white, I'll add a little bit more white. Okay. I know there's a little bit of a glare. Now take your mop brush and you're going to just soften the strokes a little bit. Okay. And take a paper towel, put it on the side here, and you're going to wipe your bristles on it just to keep it dry so that we can blend these colors together. And it doesn't have to be fully blended. Like you can leave a little bit of strokes, different texture. Okay, if you can see it, probably better like that. I'd have to bring my little, what do you call that? The workstation where your art is a little higher. Okay, I like it like this. Now we're gonna dry that. What I'm gonna do is just take this. I'm gonna just wipe off the little white around it. Okay, and I'm gonna pick up some black. And the edge is okay because the frame's gonna go above it a little bit. So I picked up some soft black, okay, and I'm gonna go along the edge, same thing, X strokes, okay, and we're gonna mix those colors together. Now it doesn't have to be like all the way along the edge. It can be darker in different areas. The glare is really bad. Again, if you feel like it's just not blending enough, pick up a little bit of extender on your brush, and it'll help blend those colors together. Okay, go all the way around. Keep picking up some colors. And this side here. Okay. Now I have it all the way around. I'm going to take my mop brush and a clean paper towel. Okay, now I'm going to blend, not so much around the edge, but I want to blend like where the white is. Blend like those colors together, just to soften it up. Keep wiping your mop brush. Go into like an X, okay, with your wrist. And you do want to see some like dark color, okay? Now I'm going to dry this and I'll be right back. Okay, I went ahead and I traced on my pattern with the tracing paper and the black graphite. It took me like 3 coats to do, and it's not quite solid. This looks a little wet still because my extender medium is still on there, and it takes a long time to dry. I want to, and after I base coated my petals, I used carousel pink, and what I did is leave it. Whatchamacallit, I traced on my my detail lines from the pattern, and I want to apply a float dark for the dark edges with Royal Fuchsia. And I'm going to use an angle brush. You can use a shader, whatever you feel comfortable with. Okay, and this one here is going to be a 3/8. It's a black gold by Dynasty. So I wet my brush. You can add extender to your tips if you find it's easier to blend. And I'm going to pick up my Royal Fuchsia with the toe and then just blend on your palette back and forth till you have it well blended. And we're going to start with the bottom part right here. There's a little lip there. And I also like to use a mop brush when I apply my floats, just to soften it up a little bit more. Okay, now I'm going to start with this edge right here. And I walk it out to make a nice long float all the way to the end here. Okay, and I like to soften it. And I'm gonna probably, if I find it's not dark enough, I might just add another color to it, like another float. Okay, now let's start at the center here. So right here, there's one right there, and it goes along each little lip on the inside of the rose here. I'm going to start along the edge. Right to the tip. Okay, and I like to turn my piece around there. So I start in the center working on the way out, because you don't want to start in going out going in, because then you're just going to wipe off all your floats that you've just done. And then I have one more here. There's such a glare. I'm not really seeing it right now. Okay, I'm going to let that dry a little bit there, and I might add another float in there. So I pick up more raw fuchsia. I'm going to go along the edge here. Just soften it up. And just walk it, like, just to make a nice wide float, because we're going to add some highlights to it too. Just walk it out there, and then just use your little mop and just soften it up. And again, I like wiping my bristles on paper towel just to keep it dry. Okay. I'm gonna work over here. And over here, like anywhere that's underneath another petal, you're going to apply some floats. And keep loading my brush. Right here, I'm going to apply right in here. I'm just going to make this just a little wider. Okay, I'm going to clean up my brush. Okay, and over here, right over here, we're going to apply a little wider. So lip right there. Just be careful not to get your other float that you just did. Okay. I'm going to go above here. There's a petal that's flipped over. And this one here is like the center. So I did underneath the petal, but we're also going to do the bottom of it. So we're going to let that part dry. And right here, also, like, there's another one. So I'm just going to lift it up my toe a little bit there so that I can get that part there. Okay, I'll come back and do this one in 1 minute. I'm just checking to see where else I need to do. I need to do along this little edge and the lip right there. So they're like little folds that go on top of the other petal. Okay, I'm gonna do right here. And you kind of fix this up once you add your highlight to it. It'll fix up your petals. Right here, I need to apply right there. Okay, just dry it up. And I'm going to go along this bottom right here, along the edge. Okay, now I'm going to dry that off. And I'm going to apply another coat there, just to make it bigger, like my float's a little wider and darker. And I don't know if I have an eraser to erase a little bit of my graphite lines. I find some of them are a little too dark. Oh, and I forgot to mention how I measured where to trace my pattern. So what I did was I put this over top, and then I placed my flower along the edge, so that way I can see whereabouts to put it. And then I just lifted this up, and then I traced it. So it's an easy way of guiding where you want your center and to trace on your pattern. So I'm going to just take a little bit of this graphite line. Some of them are a little dark. Okay, now I want to add another coat of royal fuchsia and like a float and deep burgundy. Okay, so what I do is I'm going to put a fresh petal of royal fuchsia, and I have deep burgundy. So I like to do a mix of each. Okay, so I'll put them side by side. Now, when I say a mix, what I like to do is I wet my brush, I'll dip in the royal fuchsia, I blend, okay, and then I dip into the deep burgundy. So that way I have the two colors mixed together. Okay, and then I'm going to start from the center area, and I'm going to make this nice and wide. Okay, and I'm going to take my little mop brush and just soften it up. Okay, and go along the edge. So I'm repeating what I did with the royal fuchsia. And this one over here. Okay, and I'm just going to soften that up. Okay, and again, pick up royal fuchsia when you need to reblend, and then deep burgundy. Okay, and then I'm going to go over here. Make this a little nice and wide, and you can add choppy floats to make it nice and wide. And just soften it up. Okay, I'm just going to rinse off my brush there. So you have like nice wide float, and then once we add our highlights, it'll be you'll see it more like separated. Okay, now I'm going to go over here. And just like block it out and just apply choppy floats. It doesn't have to be like perfect. And then I like, again, just to soften it up. Okay. Go over here. Maybe I could have used a little wider brush for the bigger petals. Just walk it a little wider. That one's a big petal. Okay, and when you get to the corners, walk it out so it's not like a, like it's, how do I say that? When you float a corner, you want it to walk it out so it's not so and an angle. Okay, my brush. Reload again. Royal fuchsia first, and then the deep burgundy. Okay, I want to add underneath this lip right here. Okay, and over here. Now these two ones, we're going to just use Royal fuchsia to darken it. So we'll do those ones after. Okay, now let's go back to the edge there. A little bit too much water in my brush. Okay. I want to do underneath this petal right here. Again, once it dries, if you feel like you need to go back in to darken it, then you can. Okay, so we're going to go on top there. It's getting there. Okay, I have one over here, and I want to make this one just a little wider. Okay, so let's just walk this out just to make it wider. And again, I want to make my corner not so sharp. I want to just walk it out just a little bit here. Okay, let's dry this off. Okay, and I'm missing the inside over here. along the lip, up the toe. And I got this bottom right here. So anywhere you see a shadowed area, a flip, that's where you're going to add your dark. And on my pattern, I have the step-by-step pictures of the flowers. Okay. I'm going to dry this off a little bit there. Okay, I want to go back in and where I have these two lip here, I want to just apply like a float of the Royal Fuchsia. So I'm just going to pick up Royal Fuchsia. Okay, and I want to make that nice and bright. Walk it off. And over here, this one right here. It's like a curve. Nice and wide. Okay, and then I think we're good to put on our highlights. Okay. For our highlights, I used baby pink. Okay. Okay, baby pink. And apply some on the palette. Okay. Now, for that too, I like doing choppy floats. I'm going to dry this off just a little bit here, there. And this is where you're going to hide some of the graphite line, touch up any shape of the leaf that you want. And we're going to start from the inside, work out, okay? Okay. With my angle brush, I'm going to start on the inside. So I have my baby pink. Pick it up by the toe. Just load it up back and forth. And like these center ones, you just need like a little tiny highlight just by the toe of your brush, and really mop that up because you don't want it too bright. Okay. Over here. So, okay. And then over here. So I'm using like the tip of it. It's not fully flat when I'm doing this, like a fine little section there. Okay, and then when you get to the corner, just walk it out into the floating area so that they join together. Okay, now let's do this one right here. And I want to make that a little wider. Okay, so I'm going to really blend my bristle. Now, let me just dry that off. I don't want to get my brush into my highlighted area. Okay, now let's work on this petal. Again, I'm going to chop this up. I'm going to go over the graphite line a little bit just so that it hides it, and we fix our petals this way. And walk the float or highlight Really nice and choppy. Turn your piece and make it a nice little arch. Now take your mop brush and soften it up, and if we have to, we'll apply a second highlight. Once it dries, it'll tone it down just a little bit. Okay, now I might skip here and there just so that little area can dry. Okay, so let's go to this little lip right here area. So we're going to turn this way. So that's this part over here, the very bottom one. This is a nice float. Okay, I'm going to start over here. I didn't go all the way to the edge. I should have added a little bit more floats there. We're going to go back to that one a little bit. Okay, now I'm going over, walk it out. Okay. And then we're going to do this little part right here where it has a little fold. Okay, and then I just went over my little line for a second now. Clean it up. 1 sec. Went over. You can always clean it up with a clean brush if you went over your lines a little bit. Okay. And then right over here. All right. Now, well, I'll probably add, like I said, a second little highlight just to make some of this little spots all bright. I forgot to deepen this little dip here with some raw fuchsia and burgundy. So I'm going to do that now before I forget. So right in here, I'm going to darken that there. Okay, back to my got some green in my brush here. Okay, baby pink. Okay, I want to, we can do this petal right here. Whoops. Okay, just work it a little bit. Like my paint, my brush, I have a lot of water, I can tell, which is okay because then it tones it down and then I can apply another coat. And get to the side, just use the tip of your brush there and get to the tight little edge. Okay, we're going to do a second one to it, but I like it. Okay, now I'm going to go to this little inside right here. Again, if you find you went over your flower, your petal or your flower, just take a clean brush and just wipe it off. Okay, this one right here. I want to go along the edge right here. Okay, I'll clean up my brush, and I think I'm going to soften that one up. It's starting to look like a rose. Okay, let's do this one right here. On the edge. Okay, so, oops, take my mop brush, soften that up. Okay, and this one right over here. So if I'm looking at it over here, it's got a little lip there. Okay. Let's go over here. And again, this is where you would look at it and say where you would need more highlights or more floats to make it separate your petals. Okay. I think I got it all. Okay, I'm going to dry this off. I'm going to add another highlight, like in a couple little areas there. And maybe some more deep burgundy over here. And that's where I'll grab my corners. Okay. Now I want to add a little bit more white along a couple of these edges here. Not white, sorry, baby pink. Okay, right over here. Work it out. Over here. Add it a little bit more just to make it brighter right there. Okay, and just soften it up right there. Okay, I want to make this a little bit brighter. If you have a lot of water, it makes it really different types of highlights on your flower. It makes it really pretty. When you get to the little tight end, just turn your brush so that you get the inside of it. Okay, I think this one here needs a little bit more along the edge. Okay, and this one over here. And right over here. Okay, and wherever you see like a point on the folded petal, make that a little darker. Okay, I'm going to apply a little bit more on that one there. And then I'm going to go back in with just some deep burgundy just to get some of those corners where there's a bigger crease right here. I think it needs a little bit more right here. Okay. there. I think I'm making you dizzy by turning my my project around. Okay, let's add some just burgundy, some folds there. Okay, now I'm gonna start like along this little edge here with some deep, just deep burgundy. I'm not mixing it up with the real fuchsia. I'm gonna pick it up and just clean this off a little bit here. Go along the edge. Okay, and then I want to deepen this right here, just like the corner, this corner. Okay, and I want to go underneath this petal right here, like the top one. This needs to be dark. It's a fold, so it needs to be dark right here. Just work it down so it doesn't have a harsh little line. And then just bump it up. Okay, I'm going to do the same for here. Underneath this little petal here. And I want to walk this down just a little bit so it's not so straight there. Like that. Okay. Oops. Just 1 second. I got it over my white highlight. That up. Okay, and a bit underneath this one here as well. Darken it up. Okay. I want to add some darker just on the bottom petal right here. Deep burgundy. Make that a little bit darker. So let's go along this edge here. On the graphite. And I think I need to soften that. Okay, I want to make this down just a little bit, halfway through. Okay. So I just keep looking at it and see where I can add, you know, some more colors or make it deeper. I want to add some right over here, make this a little bit darker. Might have already done this part. So keep looking at it, and I think I need a little bit more in the corner right there. Okay, and right over here, let's make this one here. So it depends on how heavy you are with your, you know, your strokes, or how much you paint you add to your bristles, or water. Okay, now this one here might need a little bit darker, and right over here, so this a little darker. There. Okay. Now I want to add a little bit, the lips, those two lips, with raw fuchsia, like make that again a little darker. Let me just pick some more up. So go along the edge. Okay, and this one right here. Okay. I'm liking it. Okay, let's dry that off. Okay, now I have my leaves transferred on. I'm going to just take my white chalk and I'll just trace over it just so that you can see what it actually looks like. And, you know, you leave it the color of the background. Okay, now for that you need some forest green and soft black on your palette. Okay, yeah. Okay, now I floated along the flower and down the bottom center, okay? I'm going to use the same angle brush. So, let me draw a line for your center here so that you know what it looks like. Okay. And we also have to add some shadow underneath our flower as well with the forest green and the soft black. So pick up some forest green, pick up some soft black, mix them together. If you want it a little darker, then add a little bit more soft black. Okay, you're making it a darker green. Now I'm gonna, again, it's choppy floats, walk it in. Okay, and along the edge of that leaf. Okay, again, you can soften it up. So I should have enough paint to do this little side here. Okay, we'll let that dry and then we'll go down the center, okay? I'm going to clean this off and we're going to add a float all along the bottom of our flower and the leaves. So it looks like a little shadow, okay? So same way, load it with the forest green, pick up some soft black, mix those two together, okay? And then I'll start over here. Just walk it out. Careful not to get too much on my flower. If you find you need more paint, just go back and pick some more up. And you can always do this part here before you base coat your flower. On my instructions, I had it at the beginning of the, before base coating the flower. Okay, and then when you look at it, if you need to make it a little wider, pick some up. Okay, and then when I get to here, I'm going to go underneath and then just go around the bottom of the point there so it's not so harsh, and go along here and turn it. Okay, I have my float underneath my flower. Let's see it. It'll dry up. Okay, I'm going to make sure this is dry so I can do the center part. Okay, again with the forest green and soft black. Okay, when you do the bottom, start where you've already floated, like wide, and then go down to the center, and you turn it into a point, okay? The same with this one. I'm going to start here where it was wide, walk it out, and turn it into a point. Now, that's going to have to dry. We're going to add highlights to it now, and that's going to be with forest green and snow white. So I'm going to get another clean dab of snow white on my palette. Okay. So with the same angle brush, let me just dry this off. Okay, now pick up forest green. You can see forest green. I need a clean little area. Some white. So you're making it like a minty color. Okay, and then we go back with some white on it too. Okay, now I want to add a little bit of white on the top part. So I'm just going to start from this edge here and just work it. But I don't want to go right to the end. I want to go towards the center where the float ended and just mix those two together, okay? Same here. I'm going to go from the point, turn my bristle, and then turn it again for a point. Okay, now you're going to do that for your outside edge. So wiggle your brush so it leaves a rough choppy float. Okay, so you kind of do, let me just show you. You kind of do, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on, like wiggle your brush so that you have choppy little, different little color in it. Like it's not perfect, it's a leaf. And then we're going to add that some white to it. So wiggle your hand and your brush. I'm going to do the same for here. And for same for the other edge. Okay, now I'm going to dry that up and add a little bit of white to it. I have to add a little more color to that side. I don't think I had enough. Maybe do that right here. Needs to be okay. I'm gonna add white. Okay, so white alone, no green. Okay, so pick up with the toes some white, really blend it because I don't want it too dark. So I'm going to start from the top, wiggle it. Okay, and then same with the edge because you just want it on the edge. Pick up over here. There. Okay, now I'm going to use my extra long detail. It's a micron and it's a 10-0. I'm going to wet this and I'm going to apply a little vein line down the center. So I'm going to pick up, well, let me see if you can see it here. I have that, so it's kind of, you want this inky. So I'm going to pick up some green and then some white, mix those two together. And I want that inky. Okay, so then I turn it to a fine point, okay? And I'm going to start from the tip going to the edge. So that it kind of fades out when you get to the dark part. Okay, so start from the tip here. And then you're gonna, when you get close to the edge, just lift it up. So kind of fade it in there. Now you can, if you find that you want this a little brighter, you can outline it with the brush as well. Okay, so I think we're done painting our flower. Okay, let me dry this off and then I'll show you how to put it together. And I'm going to show you how to put it together, but make sure that you completely let this dry. You can add either a matte sealer on it from Deco Art, or you can add Duraclear matte varnish, whatever you prefer. I did use a the spray sealer. It's matte or satin as well, but I like the matte. Okay, now if you wanted to, you're gonna take a brush and go inside these edges so that you don't see this white. Okay, and if you wanted to as well, what you would do is take your sandpaper. I don't want to do it on here because it makes it really, but you can tone it down. You can distress it a little bit. Do the corners. Edges right here. Okay, you can do along the side there. Oops, that does happen. You have to glue it. I just took it apart there. I have to glue that. Okay, so I roughed up my edge a little too hard. Okay, now what I do is I place this, okay. I'm going to turn this. Make sure I got it equal. Okay. Now, you're going to do, you need a staple gun, okay. So what I like to do is I'll do the, along the edge here. Hope you can see okay. I'm going to do the corners first. Okay, I'm going to do this corner here, and then this one here. I kind of pull on it so that it's tight when you're stapling. Okay, and then this edge here. Okay. Now you're going to go all the way around with the center, or like the center edge. And you have a lot of room to staple, okay? It's not like you're gonna miss, hopefully not miss, but okay. That one didn't go in very well. Okay, and then you can keep going, add a couple more if you want to. Okay, oops, I really have to glue that. Okay, well, there you go. It'll be like this. Okay, and then like, when you have a sealer, your rose will really pop out. That completes my little project. And this e-packet, it's called Rose. I think I forgot to mention that. So I'll have all the link of what I've used on my description down below. And thank you for joining. Bye now.